We all know people who have been so aligned with their passion and their purpose that it just shines through in everything that they do. But what is it that stops us from not only finding our purpose or our passion or the thing that we've come here to do, but what stops us from even trying to seek it in the first place? Why is it that so many of us are content to play small or to live out someone else's idea of what they think our life should be? And why is it that we're afraid to even try to find it? I think it comes down to one primary reason. We don't want to fail. We don't want to risk being wrong or looking foolish or having somebody else think less of us. And most of all, I think we will do just about anything to avoid the internalized shame we feel when we think we've messed something up. Many of us believe that we have to be complete masters of a skill or a task or some kind of ability before we even attempt it, before we even let ourselves think it's possible to work in one of those areas that we are so passionate about. We are so afraid of failure, we won't even try in the first place. This week we're going to take a look at some of these ideas around failure and see if we can find the gifts that are buried within them. I have really come to realize over the years that no matter what the challenge is, there is something in it for me to know that is for the evolution of my soul. Another author that I frequently read is Richard Rohr. He has a great book called Falling Upward, Spirituality for the Second Half of Life. And in there, Richard says this about life and failing. He says, life, if we are honest about it, is made up of many failings and fallings, amidst all of our hopeful growing and achieving. Those failings and fallings must be there for a purpose. Life is about failing and falling, and all of this failing and falling is here for a purpose. We can look at failure and the mistakes that we've made in two different ways. We can allow the shame we feel over this perceived mistake to take us down a spiral of self-blame, self-doubt, and live our lives from that place. Or we can use it as a lesson, a place to start anew. It can become a place of empowerment, a place where we launch ourselves into our greater yet to be. Richard goes on to say, we grow spiritually much more by doing it wrong than doing it right. Now, as many of you know, I draw a mandala every morning as part of my spiritual practice. If you don't know what a mandala is, it's a geometric representation of a sacred idea, concept, feeling. And I draw a small 3.5-inch square mandala each morning. Now, I've been doing this for over 6 years, and I've completed more than 2,000 of these little drawings. So believe me when I say I have made my share of mistakes. And when I first started this practice, I would get really upset with myself when I made a mistake. I have a tendency to do that. Things like smudging the ink when I move my hand over it too quickly before it has had a chance to dry. Or going too far over in a place where I didn't intend it to be, the line that I was drawing. Or drawing in a place that I never meant to draw in the first place. Or just simply dropping my pen and creating an extra mark on my paper. I used to try to find ways to cover up the mark. I bought whiteout and white gel pens and anything I could think of that would help me cover up that black mark on a white card. Sometimes I even got to the point where I threw the drawing away and would start all over again. But as I've moved through this practice over the years and allowed it to really become the tool of transformation that it has become, my ideas about these mistakes has changed. Quite frankly, I don't even consider them a mistake anymore. When I do something that I didn't mean to do, I say to myself that this is not a mistake. This is just an opportunity for me to create something different than what I had originally planned. Now, as my practice has shifted and grown over these 6 years, I began to notice that these mistakes seem to occur most often when I am not fully present with what I'm doing. For me, this is a meditative practice, and so oftentimes I will ask a question and then just contemplate that as I complete the mandala, as I draw the mandala. But I find myself when I'm making mistakes that I'm not fully present, that I haven't gotten into that state of contemplation the way that I often do. These are times when my mind is distracted by something else that's going on in my life. When I'm not fully present, when I'm not fully engaged where I am doing what I'm doing right then, when I'm not completely in touch with the passion that I feel for this practice and my purpose for doing it, it seems as though I make more and more mistakes. Now, this is a key point that I have discovered, and it is completely a paradox. We avoid doing things that are in alignment with our passion and our purpose because we're afraid of making mistakes. But when we're not completely in alignment with our passion and purpose, we wind up making more mistakes. So when my mind is distracted, I make more mistakes. My purpose for doing this is to get my mind centered and calm. But when my mind isn't centered and calm, then that's when the errors happen. When I'm not fully engaged in my passion around this activity, that's when more mistakes happen. We all have things that keep us distracted in life, things like our chattering mind, that what the Buddhists call the monkey mind that just constantly goes. We have thoughts about relationship issues, our dissatisfaction with certain areas of our lives. All of these things swirl through our minds in a way that keep us distracted from doing what it is we're passionate about, from fulfilling that purpose that leads us to create more of what we would call mistakes or failures. And even if we don't have this happening within our own mind at the time, more than likely, we have some other person in our lives pointing these things out for us. And oh, how helpful that is to us. How many of you have ever held back your abilities, your talents, your genius, simply because you didn't want someone else to feel bad? And even if you didn't let them hold you back, you likely had to endure their eager pointing out of every little error they thought you made. We love those critics in our lives. I love the way that Theodore Roosevelt speaks of these critics, the people who are so willing to point out all of our shortcomings. In a speech he gave in France in 1910, he spoke about these critics. He said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." It's not that suffering or failure might happen, or that it will only happen to you if you are bad, or that it only happen to you if you're unlucky, or that somehow by cleverness or righteousness you can avoid it. The truth is, it will happen, and it will happen to you. Losing, failing, falling, and the suffering that comes from those experiences, all of this is a necessary and even a good part of the human journey. The 13th century English mystic, Julian of Norwich, says this: "First there is the fall, and then we recover from the fall. And both are the grace of God." Both the failing and what we get out of the failing. Both are the grace of God. One of the great surprises is that humans come to full consciousness precisely by facing their shortcomings and by making friends with their own mistakes and failings. There are not any people who have had no inner struggles. Every one of us has had to deal with these issues that are both universal and uniquely individual. Those of us who are willing to see and face our failures are the ones who up-level their consciousness. We experience success and failure in life. And just as life teaches the lesson not to allow success to go to one's head, we are very wise not to follow or not to allow failures to consume our souls. To fail forward means not giving up when things don't work out. When failure seems inevitable, the secret to moving forward is to cultivate a sense of everyday wonder as a guide and a constant companion. To begin to wonder about these failures that we see, these things that we think we've done wrong. Begin to wonder about them and use them as a guide. We can begin to create that everyday sense of wonder around our failures and our shortcomings by taking them into our spiritual practices. One of the ways to do this is to ask some contemplative questions. Questions like, what is here in this situation for me to know? What is my next step to move through the feelings that I'm experiencing right now? How am I to shift or grow or change as a result of this experience? Now remember, it is the quality of the questions that we ask that determines our level of spiritual growth. The quality of the questions that we ask determines our spiritual growth. Notice that when I asked those three questions, I didn't ask questions like, why did this happen? Or why did I do this? Or how could I be so stupid? Or even the best one, why me? These kind of questions keep us stuck, while those first few questions empower us to move through the challenges before us. Ask what is here for us, not what is happening to us. Shifts us from being a victim to our failings to being a co-creator in a life that is unfolding for us. We will fail. To err is human. And it is through our failures that we grow, that we become more of who we're meant to be. The only way to not fail is to not play the game at all, to never fully engage in life. We can be content to be a spectator sitting on the bleachers, watching our lives pass by. Or we can get ourselves down into the arena and dare greatly at everything we do. As I've mentioned several times this month, we may be at a point in our life where we've retired from the jobs that we've held for so many years. Our careers may be over. We're enjoying the good life, as they say. This might be a time when we're not really interested into delving into finding our purpose or our passion. We may feel like we've already fulfilled that, and I'm just going to cruise on by now. This may be a time in our lives where we're just ready to coast along and enjoy the fruits of our labors. We may not spend much time thinking about our failures or our shortcomings. Things that seem like mistakes from our past seldom cross our minds, and we're content to just ride out the remainder of our time here. And there's nothing wrong with that. But no matter where we are in our aging process, no matter where we feel we are in our life's work, we always have an opportunity to overcome anything we feel we may have failed at. Any area that we wanted to be successful in that we weren't. Just because we may be in the second half of our lives and wanting to leave the first half behind, put it behind us, we always have an opportunity for a deeper sense of fulfillment. Author Joan Chittister, too many T's and S's in there, says this in her book, The Gift of Years, Growing Older Gracefully. She writes, "A burden of these years is the danger of giving in to our most scared selves. The blessing of these years is the opportunity to face what is in us that has been enslaving us, and to let our spirit fly free of whatever has been holding it back for all these years. We can stay in our scared selves, and that's okay. We don't even have to think of them as scared. But we always, every single moment, have an opportunity to face anything that may be lingering in our consciousness that we want to let go of. And remember, nobody can keep us from living our lives except ourselves. Nothing can inhibit our journey except our own lack of willingness, courage, patience, our own imagination. Our journey is ours to walk or to avoid. It's ours alone. Some falling apart on the journey is necessary for this to happen. So it's wise not to waste our moments lamenting the poor parenting we may have had, the lost jobs that we regret, the failed relationships, our physical challenges, our economic situation, or any of life's other tragedies. Failure is part of the deal of being human. If we don't live our life fully, if we aren't fully embodying what we're here, it's surely because we do not want to. So let's want to. Let's desire. And desire deeply. Desire to understand ourselves a little bit better. Desire to have a deeper connection, a deeper sense of who we are. Desire everything that is good and true and beautiful. And live from the knowing that it's ours already, and it always has been. Life is a wonderful journey. You are here instilled with a passion and a purpose unique to you. Desire to find it. Desire to allow it to live through you. Each one of us has a unique gift, and our world is hungry for it. Let's see if we can find it and deliver it. So let's take this into prayer, into our spiritual practice of affirmative prayer, a contemplative process where we go within and sense and feel the truth and speak from that place. And so if you will, just turn within. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, take in a couple of deep breaths. And somewhere in your body, you'll feel your heart center. And just bring your awareness to that place as you continue to easily breathe in and out. And from this place of deep connection, this place of all-pervading peace, I know that there is only one divine, creative, loving intelligence. That one is eternal and everlasting. It is the isness and the allness and the fullness and the wholeness of all of life. In the beginning was just this one, And through its own power, its own presence, its own essence, its own energy, this one began to create. It has brought forth everything into expression, everything that is, everything that has ever been, everything that is yet to be, is all a perfect emanation of this one. And because I know that there is only one, I know that I am one with it. I know that infinite intelligence that created the stars and the moons and the planets and the grains of sand on the beach also created me. I am a perfect emanation of that one. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for each one of us. That we are all the embodiment of the living spirit, right here and right now. That this intelligence, this power of creativity, this perfection and wholeness is the truth of who each one of us is. And so knowing this truth, I speak my word. I know it's still instilled within us from the very beginning is a divine spark of creativity that is showing up through us in those things that we are passionate about, those things that fulfill our life's purpose, those things that we are called to do and cannot help but do. I know that that is the very essence of who each and every one of us is. That this loving creative power and presence is moving into expression through each one of us, individually, uniquely, perfectly, in the right time and the right place. And I know along with that passion and that purpose, that embedded within each of our consciousness is a willingness to be more than we have ever been before. To allow this divine creative source to express itself through us in a way that uplifts our entire universe. And I know that as we clear away any feelings of failure or shame or doubt or less than, we create within our consciousness an expansive area that is receptive to all that we desire. All of the good, all of the beauty, all of the perfection that is the truth of who we are right now. And I'm so grateful to know this. I'm so grateful to feel it. I'm so grateful to see it operating in the world and in the lives of each member of this community. I am so grateful to know that it is expressing itself in the creation of our new building for Center for Spiritual Living. That there is a magnificence unfolding itself that has been instilled with a divine purpose. And we are watching it unfold right before our eyes. And so I just give great thanks for this. And I release this word into the law, into that creative intelligence that knows no limitation. I let it be and I let it go. And so it is. Amen.